So joining me now is a former federal prosecutor, now an NBC News legal analyst, Carol Lamb. Carol, I know there are four various buckets to go at Trump, you know, anywhere from more direct about the insurrection itself and overturning the election to more indirect, like fundraising fraud, witness tampering. You've seen what you have right now, and obviously you'd love to have more information, but based on the information available to you right now, what's the most prosecutable path?
Wow, such an interesting question, Chuck, because as a former prosecutor, as you said, of course, I want to see everything, and I don't for a second think that we've, as a member of the general public, have seen everything. I have to say that the witness tampering charge is very interesting, but we just don't know enough about it. I think that what Representative Cheney showed yesterday in the hearing was certainly very disturbing. It was a transcript of what a couple of witnesses have told the committee about some unnamed people in the Trump organization reaching out to them and saying things that, if this could be proven and the witnesses are credible, it's pretty close to a witness tampering charge. But what we don't know is if former President Trump had anything specifically to do with it. We haven't seen any evidence regarding that, so that remains to be seen. I would say the testimony yesterday from Ms. Hutchinson does bring us a step closer with respect to the timing of what the former president knew about people being armed and then encouraging them to go down to the Capitol. I think we are now getting closer to the possibility that the president could be charged with something related to the mob attack on the Capitol. But again, a lot of ground still needs to be covered, and a lot of witnesses would have to be seen personally by the people at the Justice Department before that determination could be made.
Carol, what is remarkable this is the fourth federal investigation of Donald Trump that I feel like you and I have lived through, right? We've had Mueller, and we've had the first impeachment, the second impeachment, and this one. And if there is one sort of through line, it's for somebody as careless as we all like to portray Donald Trump as, he is remarkably good at making sure others commit potential crimes instead of himself. How much has he protected himself here?
It's not that unusual, is it, Chuck, for somebody at the top of an organization, whether it be the Trump organization or the United States, to insulate themselves in this fashion with this sort of, you know what I need, you know what I want, and people do his bidding, and it provides him with some insulation. There's this combination of benign negligence, benign neglect, and yet people know what he wants down the line, and that does serve to insulate him from an evidentiary viewpoint. So it's not that unusual. You hear this with respect to mob organizations all the time, and this probably won't be the first time I bring up an analogy to the mob, but that is simply not that surprising. And the difficulty is that the Justice Department, with the very high burden of proof that it has to meet, they do look for that direct line. They do have to have very clear evidence that ties the former president directly to whatever harm it is that they're alleging took place.
Is it clear to you why Mark Meadows might want a pardon?
Well, if you were to if I were the defense attorney for any of these individuals who have reportedly asked for a pardon, I would say, well, obviously the country is very divided, people are very angry, and who knows what the Democrats might decide to do when the next administration moves in, so I better just protect myself by having a pardon. But as it's been pointed out many times, I don't think that you or I wake up in the morning and say, you know, I think I need a pardon. You have to have been involved in something that you had to have some reservations about before you start going down that road, and I think that that's pretty obvious what occurred here.
By the way, Carol, and this is I've been meaning to ask any expert on this. Is it possible the president could have handed out a pardon to somebody and they've pocketed it and not brought it out yet? Or is it one of those things that we'd all know if one had been issued?
The pocket pardon theory, I think, is an interesting theory. I did look into it to some extent. I don't think it's a realistic theory because I think that there does have to be some process where it has to have been viewed by certain offices within the government and signed off on. I can't swear to that, but I don't think it's a realistic possibility here.
Carol Lam, former U.S. Attorney. Like I said, I think we've gone through 4 federal investigations of Donald Trump these days on this side of things. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.